Hello YouTube, welcome back to Brilliant Pit Seasonal Wellness YouTube channel. My name is Liz, and on this channel we talk all about seasonal wellness, how to live more in alignment with the season, and how to harmonize in seasonal harmony. So therefore we talk about astrology, seasonal wellness, cyclical nature, and everything along those lines. So as you can tell from the title of this video, we are talking all about Aries season. So right now I'm recording on the 22nd of March. So we are in the first day of Aries season. Aries season is from March 21st to April 19th. And basically this season marks the very beginning of a new astrological new year. So what does that mean? Essentially, the astrological new year marks obviously the beginning of a cycle. So we see a lot of themes with new beginnings, new cycles, vitality, boldness, everything that has to do with awakening. And basically think about all of the times and all of the themes of what beginnings hold in life. So that would be birth, that would be self-awareness, becoming self-actualized, divine ego, our identity, everything that has to do with the evolution of the self and how that shows up in the very beginning, in the very awakening of ourself. So Aries, I will just call out the main three elements of Aries, which is, it is ruled by Mars, the planet of war, could be seen as aggression, but mainly Mars represents fire energy, which is the other element of Aries. It is the planet that wants to will things into existence, wants to use action and force, but becomes most inspired when it is being led and ruled by the heart's desires. So Mars is really connected to our soul, our divine self. So basically, the more we can access that this season in general, the better. So that is just kind of an overall theme of this season. So I already talked about Mars being a fire sign. So that's the second element of Aries, is fire energy. So if you want to kind of generalize the four elements, what fire really represents is this inspiration. It's basically the spark of inspiration that helps us lead into the next season. And when you think about it, fire, as it is representing the beginning of our astrological new year, fire really is the initial spark, the initial inspiration that can be translated to all seasons. So obviously Aries is the only fire sign, cardinal sign, so it's the only sign that is a fire sign but also represents the beginning of a season. But that is also why this is so powerful. What fire does is it helps us to get inspired and take action on those inspirations. So when you think about Sagittarius or Leo, what these two also have in common is the inspiration to lead with our heart. So that is just a theme here, and because we are now getting into the third element, cardinal sign, this is such potent, powerful energy. And I have spoken about Aries before, but this is probably my favorite thing about Aries, is that it is the most inspiring time of year and it is potent with potential. So cardinal signs are Cancer. Well, I'll say them in order of how it goes out through the year. So we start with Aries, and then we go to Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So as you can tell, cardinal signs mark the beginning of every season. Cardinal energy and Aries is this potent energy of innovation, starting something new, kind of like going headfirst into something new. It's like the Fool energy. And the Fool energy is particularly potent here because it's the springtime. It is the beginning. It is the very beginning of something new. And that is just why I get so inspired this time of year to talk about Aries and everything that it represents for us. And especially if we want to live in seasonal alignment, it is probably the most exciting time of year because there's so much ahead of us. We get to dive into our heart, our desires, our soul right now. It is the most supported to dive into our soul's desires right now. So I will just leave that there. So a couple of things I want to talk about before I get into the lifestyle tips that we are going to talk about today. And that is Mars and our personality. So I want to definitely emphasize the idea that Mars is one of the most related planets to our personality, how we show up, how we assert ourselves. And I do oftentimes feel like this could be overlooked in the astrology community. I think a lot of people tend to think of their personality as the big three, like the sun, moon, rising sign. And those are all very important. But I think our Mars placement gives us the most context around how we show up, literally how we physically show up in our life. So as you could probably tell, and I've actually had this theory, and I think I mentioned it in my podcast with my sister called the Venus Report. It's on pause currently, but if you go to the Venus Report, which I'll link below, you can gain so much awareness, so much inspiration about astrology because our conversations were just raw and real. So I will link that page below. But I think I've mentioned it before that as your Mars placement might be what you come off as more than your ascendant. And the reason I say that is because Mars is so assertive. It is probably the most, other than the sun sign, because the sun is so powerful, it is our vitality, our identity. You'll hear me say this a lot in Leo season, but I would say that the second most powerful planet would be Mars. And Mars, the reason being is because it has that assertion, like I said, the identity and how you self-actualize. It's more about the actions we take versus the sun sign is just our soul. It's like, it's not really something that can be worked with and toyed with and actually experimented with, versus Mars is our first action. It's our baby steps. And that is why I just feel like Mars has such an importance in our life, in our charts, in our birth charts. So I invite you this season to look into your Mars placement and think about the ways that you show up and how your sun sign could indicate things, but your Mars sign could also give context to those things. So for instance, I'm a Cancer sun, but I'm also a Virgo Mars. So I might come off as this nurturing kind of element in my identity, but I do see how I actually come off way more like a Virgo in terms of my actions. I'm a spreadsheet person. I like to organize, I like to create, but I also like to really stick to time management, and I help people organize. That's what I do in my work. So I see all of it as relevant, and I invite you to also do that for yourself. So I already mentioned this a little bit, but I wrote down cardinal signs initiative mixed with fire sign enthusiasm. So I just want to emphasize again that a cardinal fire sign, that is the only one, is Aries, obviously. This is the most potent time to start something. And I will just keep saying this because it is just so potent. Cardinal signs, like I said, innovate, they initiate, and they take action on things. They want to move things forward. When you think about the ending of a season, mutable signs, they're always very equipped with change. They always are inviting something new, which only gives way to a cardinal sign. So mutable signs and cardinal signs, I think, have a lot in common in that sort, which I wish I could just go into depth on things like this. And hopefully I'll just find more time to make more videos to talk more in-depthly about certain things. But basically, cardinal signs are what mutable signs charge in the next step. So it's like mutable signs are equipped for change. So then the change actually happens when mutable meets cardinal. And cardinal, because it's the beginning of something, has this energy and this potential of that change, and it's ready to take action. It's almost like kinetic energy. Like there's already things moving because of the change, and now the energy needs to be input into something to start something to then like trudge through. And that is just the energy. That is just the energy right now. And as you can tell, I'm just so excited about it. I love this time of year. It is just the most inspiring time of year to me. One last thing to leave us off from the themes into the lifestyle tips is a sentence I wrote down about Aries. And I do feel like from the Aries people that I know and Aries energy in general, this is extremely accurate. I wrote down, Aries knows what they stand for and do so with such magnetizing confidence. So if there's one thing we can say, and of course I don't love coming up with major themes of zodiac signs because I do feel like it is so dependent upon the context. I can't confidently say that like there's one thing true about each zodiac sign because it is within the context of a whole chart, and something might come out very strongly in a Cancer that has a lot of Capricorn tendencies, but it's probably because maybe their moon is there or their Mercury is there. So I don't love to come up with these like phrases that identify a zodiac sign as a certain way. But I will say that Mars energy, cardinal energy, and fire energy all have this one thing in common, and you can't really say that about all zodiac signs. And the thing that they have in common is this forthrightedness, this confidence, warrior-like energy. There's just something undeniable about Aries and this time of year, and also the context in which springtime arrives. There's this energy of like everything has culminated to this point. We now see the light. We can touch the light, but we are also experiencing the ending of something that we just experienced. It's this entirely potent time of year where we can see everything. We can see the context of both. And that's just something I notice about actually Aries and Libra in general, is there's this energy of seeing everything from a standpoint, and that is what makes something have this potent energy. Hey guys, so I want to take a little commercial break to let you in on a new product in my Etsy shop. It is the Happy Birthday Aries card. This is what it looks like. There we go. So this is what it looks like. It is totally empty on the inside, so you have room to write whatever message you want to give to your Aries best friend, sister, colleague, the Aries warrior in your life. This is perfect for them. It has all the little vintage elements that give people the vibe of Aries. Aries is such a vibe, and I am just so excited to offer this. It is live in the Etsy shop, and I am going to be coming out with all seasons, all astrology, zodiac signs, happy birthday cards. So I'm extremely excited about that. If you do head over to the Etsy shop, definitely check out my other latest products, which are the notebook, vintage notebook, which I will actually just insert an image here so you can see, vintage notebook, as well as a 5-piece thank you card pack. So very similar to the cards idea, it's basically just thank you cards that are written in all different vintage style, vintage flowers, and vintage fonts. So it's perfect for you're a vintage lover, you're a nostalgic lover, somebody who just adores beiges and old aesthetic, like just antique, it's perfect. It's perfect for those kinds of people. So thank you so much for listening to this commercial, and we will get back right into the video. I hope that this resonates, and we will get into the lifestyle tips now. So my first lifestyle tip for Aries is revitalize elements of your daily life to initiate new cycles. So this is the proverbial spring cleaning is what I'm referring to. And basically, I'll also just continue reading what I wrote down. Do what feels most natural. So this could mean redesigning, repositioning things in your home, starting projects, but lean into inspiration. What is sparking you right now? So I personally can say that I notice every Aries season, and this might be because Aries rules my 6th house. I notice that every single Aries season, March into April, I notice a shift in my work organization, work inspiration. So whether that's me finding somebody on the internet who's like brand new to me, who then becomes kind of like this mecca of inspiration for me, I've noticed that actually happen the past 2 Aries seasons, weirdly. But also, I do always notice a shift in my work, whether it's a new job or a new way of going about work, or something like starting a new side project that's just outside of my work. I notice something every single year. So what I encourage you to do here is look to where Aries is in your chart. Now, if you are wondering how to even do this, you're kind of coming to my channel, you're new to astrology, but you're interested in birth charts, please reach out to me and I will absolutely help you. I'm still small on this channel and I do have time, and I also am starting actually a new project, so this is a great time to talk about it. In my Etsy store, I'm going to be offering birth chart posters. So basically, if you don't even know your birth chart, you don't know anything really about it, I'm going to be creating wall art prints that show your birth chart, and it's all going to be based on the information you give me. So I would need to know the time, the date, and the location of your birth, and I will be able to create an art print for you that you could have on your wall and always refer to. So that is a new project that I am currently working on, weirdly, because it's Aries season and I'm just working on new things. So definitely drop a comment if you are interested, because I would love to know if that is something you guys are interested in and if I could help in any way bring clarity to birth charts and what they represent. But anyway, I'll get back to what I was saying. Look to where Aries is in your chart. As you know, or maybe you don't know, but a chart is divided into 12 signs, obviously. So where Aries rules your chart is actually significant in terms of the themes that might come up in your life. So for instance, Aries rules my 6th house, and the 6th house is the house of work, labor, habits, daily routines, things like that. So obviously it makes sense that these new inspirations are coming through in my work life and kind of in my day-to-day, So I encourage you to look to where Aries rules your chart and revitalize elements of maybe the themes that will come up in this area of your life to initiate new cycles. So the point here is that we are entering into a new year. So in terms of work, for me, it's like I'm going to revitalize kind of like my day-to-day organization of my work for this new year. It's very similar to how we make New Year's resolutions, but instead it's like the flavor of it is more action-oriented, organizing things based on where we want to will and insert our motivation, and basically like something that is in total connection with your ego is what I'm speaking about here. So your divine ego, who you are, how you want to continue in this area of your life. But the point is to make a new cycle. So just kind of refurbish, make sure everything is in potent condition for a brand new cycle. So my second tip for Aries lifestyle is to sever ties and separate yourself from anything prohibiting growth. Mars energy wants to passionately destroy or protect, and typically around what the heart desires to see come to life. Now is the time to set aside habits, doubts, fears, and energies that aren't in true alignment with who you are. Wow. So basically, severing ties and separating is a theme of Mars. And basically how I know that is because Mars and Saturn are seen as the malefics in traditional astrology and ancient astrology, sorry. So basically what that means is to have malefics, you have to have benefics. The benefics are Venus and Jupiter. And what these planets have in common is basically duality. When you think about the quicker moving planets of these two sources, I guess, or categories, you're getting Venus and Mars. Venus and Mars have, for I guess the history in astrology, been seen as like the duality, the yin and the yang. Mars being the yang, the one who takes assertive action and goes upward, makes like upward movement, positive charge. And Venus has always been seen as the yin counterpart. So the person, the more grounded counterpart that is more reciprocal and has has the energy of groundedness and stabilization versus, and kind of a negative charge, so goes back down to the earth versus go up to the heavens. That is a little bit of traditional Chinese medicine, my studies in Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine coming to you live. So basically, like I said here, Mars energy wants to passionately destroy or protect. And you could probably see this in the people that you know who are Aries. They might have a strong constitution about something that they believe in. Or they might have a strong constitution in their personality about something and could come off as combative and aggressive and just bold. The most general term I could say is bold here. So when I say the heart's desires, and they basically want to destroy or protect based on the heart's desires coming to life. This is really referring to the will that Aries holds. And what that really means is Aries has been known to always stand for a cause, stand for the underdog, or just stand up for something that they believe in or that they are trying to protect, or something along the lines of fighting for. This is definitely a theme right now. So the more that we can align with our heart's desires, not the desires of the external, not the desires of the thing that we are the most afraid of. It's like not putting your energy into anything else but yourself, your heart, and what is going to make you feel the most aligned as you take action forward, right? We are literally defining a new path right now. So whatever that looks like, make sure it is in alignment with your heart. And whatever is not in alignment with your truest desires, the energy that you want to feel, despite fear, get rid of the fear. Only think about what your heart's truest desires is right now. And whatever does not align with that, sever it. Get it out of your way. Get it to a point where there is no combat. There's nothing to fight for. You're fighting for your heart's desires, right? So that is my second tip. So my third tip for Aries season is to take risks if they're driven by passion. So Aries season is a time that supports diving headfirst into areas of life that concern your identity, vitality, and sense of confidence in who you are. Start the endeavor. Put yourself in environments, lead with your heart and your soul's true desires to live in complete alignment this Aries season. So that really does go hand in hand with my last tip, except for the fact that I'm suggesting to take risks. So this is really referring to the courage that Aries holds. We would not be here today if the people in our history did not take bold risks where they weren't totally sure of the outcome, but instead they were totally sure of what was in their heart and what was inside of them to make that will and make that motivation strong enough and potent enough to will them through something that they didn't know the outcome of. That is the point here. So there could be elements of your life, just because Aries energy, the potency of this energy in general, has the elements of you don't know what's next, but what is supported is knowing yourself, knowing your deepest self. And it's beautiful because Pisces, which we were just in, helps us do that. It is the time of most introspection, although it is very, very connected to the change. Pisces specifically, it is also the dream world, the world where we are diving into ourselves. It is the last sign of winter, and winter in general represents kind of introspection, understanding our inner world, so that in the summertime, the exact opposite time, we can be the most outward, the most expressive, the most expressive version of ourselves. So with all of that said, taking risks, Aries season, diving headfirst into the areas of life that concern your identity, vitality, and sense of confidence in who you are. So leading with your heart, whether it's putting yourself out there, whether it's starting something new and you don't know the result, you can't tell the future. Aries is the Fool in the tarot. I know I said this earlier, but that is the energy here. We want to assert ourselves in ways that are full of courage, full of self understanding and confidence, so that it can drive the result. And when you think about Aries, it is like the first seed of manifestation. So when you think about the life cycle of a plant, it is typically in Aries season, symbolically, that we start to think about our garden. We start to buy the seeds, and buying the seeds is metaphoric for gathering our intentions. And then in Taurus, we plant the seeds to then grow at its full capacity in like Cancer, Leo season. And Virgo is the harvest, and then we go back down into the earth. So it is all about gathering your greatest intention right now. What is that intention? Is it to do something courageous and go out on your own and do your own business? Is it to put yourself out there, go to a community group meeting and just put yourself out there? It's as simple as making the decision, building the intention. But what is your long-term intention with this? As long as those intentions, whether it's 5 years from now, a year from now, 6 months from now, as long as those intentions are built knowing the heart, in full alignment with your heart, as long as those things are accurate and in alignment, then you have the capacity to be the most confident this season. You have the capacity to go out and do everything in full Aries mode. So I want to thank you all so much for tuning in to Aries lifestyle, seasonal wellness for this month. And I will remind you, this is accurate for March 21st to April 19th. So I will be coming back here on around April 19th to talk about Taurus season, lifestyle tips that you can live by for the month ahead to live in seasonal alignment. I will see you next month for Taurus season, and I hope you have a beautiful start to spring. I hope it is invigorating, revitalizing, and just everything to get you in action as we are rising into summer. So I hope you enjoy, and I will talk to you next month. Bye.